In this video, we'll learn how to generate CSV in LWC. This is also one of the most commonly used feature in projects, so that's why I picked up this topic. So let's go to our VS Code, and to generate the CSV, we need the data. So first we'll go and create a Apex controller. So I'll say CSV controller as my class name. So CSV controller, and inside this we're gonna write the basic methods. So we'll say public static. I'll just return the list of accounts they get accounts, and here in the query I'll write select ID, name, phone, annual revenue, or industry we can write. And these fields we can import from, like we can fetch from the account object. I'll say account object semicolon at the end. And to expose this method we have to annotate it with the aura enable. So I'll say @aura, and I'll be cacheable true because this is a get call only, not updating anything. Cacheable. Our class and the method is ready. Now we have to go and create a lightning web component where we're gonna call this class or fetch this data. So I'll go to command palette, create a lightning web component, and I'll give this name CSV demo. And now my component is created. So first we'll import our method. Import that, say import method name from @salesforce apex slash our controller name, that is CS controller, and then the method name, that is get accounts. And to fetch the data I'm gonna use a wire service. So to use a wire, first we need to import the wire from the LWC module, and here we'll say @wire, will pass the method name, it will receive the data, and I'm using wire as a function, so I'll say account handler, it will receive the data as well as error. And we'll say if data is there, then console.log the data, and if error is there, console that error as well. So now our data fetching is ready. So before deploying, let's go and add the meta tags as well, and we're gonna place this component in the app page. I'll change is exposed to true and target set to lightning app page. In JS we are printing the data in the console, we are calling the method, and we already create the class in the method, so that will return ID, name, phone, annual revenue, industry. So let's deploy this. So now it's deployed. Let's go to our app, zero to hero. I'm in a reusable component. I'll click here icon and edit the page, and we'll place this component on this particular page. So let's search for our component, that is CSV demo, and I'll place this the middle section, and I'll hit save. And it's not showing anything because we haven't added anything in our component HTML basically. So let's open and see in the console if it's printing something, it's returning the data. And how you'll make sure it's returning the correct data, if you look at the file name, it's the file name that we have created, csvdemo.js. So it's returning the data, and the 13 data is coming from Apex. So data is coming correctly. Now let's go quickly and add the lightning card, the HTML. I'll go to the csvdemo.html. I'll say lightning card, then the title, CSV demo, and here I'll create a div and give the padding as well. The SLDS padding around medium, and inside this I can print the data directly. Let's run the loop, but before running the loop we need to store this data into a variable. So we'll say account data equal to empty array. Here we'll say whenever the data comes, so this dot account data equal to data. You can just move the empty array, will initialize it as undefined, and then the data will be mapped, and we'll run the loop on this. We'll say template for item, call it as each item as account, close the loop, and before running the loop we have to make sure the data is there. We'll use if true directive, and we'll say if account data is there, then only run the loop. We'll move the loop at the if true template. Now we'll have to see what all things we can print here. I'll say t tag and print account dot. If I go to console, I can look at data again. Say account dot id, the industry name, phone, annual revenue. Okay, first account dot id, then I'll print account dot annual revenue, then I'll print account dot name. Let's print only three data, okay? And because we are using the for each loop, we have to give the key as well. So id is unique, so I'm using account dot id as a unique property, and it will render id, annual revenue, and name. And if you want to print industry, we can go with the industry as well, and print account dot industry. And one more field is pending, let's add that as well. So phone number, the account dot phone. So let's deploy and see whether it's rendering the data or not. We are just printing the data as it is. We are not creating any data table or something. I just want to keep the video short. So we'll just print the data on the screen, and then we'll write a utility for CSV generation. First I want the data to be there, and now the data is coming here, but the space is less, that's why the id is the id, then the name, then the phone number or account name, all these things are coming. And what we want is, let's print only few things on the screen, otherwise we're not able to visualize it properly. So let's keep industry and name on the screen, and let's remove everything, but in the Excel sheet we will dump everything. Okay, so on the screen the user will see only name and industry, and along with this I want to create a button as well. So on click of that, we'll call our utility function. I'll say button label, and label I'll say generate CSV, and here I'll say on click CSV generator. This is the method I'm gonna call on click of this button, and I'll add a variant as well, and I'll say the variant is brand. So let's go on click for JS file, CSV generator, and here we'll call whenever we have to generate a CSV. So our utility is not yet ready, but our structure is ready now. So let's deploy and see once again quickly whether our data is looking okay to us or not on the screen. So behind the scene we are getting ID, name, phone, annual revenue or industry, but on the screen we are showing name and industry. But when we generate the CSV, we will dump everything. Okay, we can control whatever data we want to dump or not. So let's go back to the page and refresh the page. And now it's printing the name and the industry if there is an industry. So here is the industry, electronic and apparel construction. And to make it more clear, what we can do is we will just print the name. That's better. So now we have a name coming, and on click of CSV generator, we will dump all the data that we are getting from the controller. And now we're gonna create a new component, and we call it as a basically a service component, in which we'll not write any HTML. We'll create a reusable utility there. So I'll create a web component utils, and a new utility is created, and I'll go to that folder or to the component. I'll remove the HTML. I'll delete this, and here in the JS file I'll remove everything whatever it's available, and here we'll start writing our code or a reusable function, and the function name I'll give it here export CSV file, and this will take a headers, total data that you want to dump in the CSV, and the file title. So this is how our method will look like. And this method to use in our component, what we have to do is first we have to import this method or this component. We'll say import CSV export CSV file from c/utils. So from utils component we are importing the export CSV file because we are exporting it from there, and it gets imported. And here what we're going to do is we'll say call export CSV file and pass the header, total data, and the file title. I'll just copy it and comment it out there. So these three things we have to pass. So let's pass the header first, and it's up to us how we want to manage this header. So I'll create a property on the top, headers or account headers, I can say account headers. I'll create it as an object. I'll say I want to pass ID, and I want the user to look that ID as record ID on the screen or on the Excel sheet. Record ID. On the left hand side you have to pass the key name, and the right hand side the name that you want to display. So then the another key I want to use on the Excel is the name key that is coming, and I want to show you in the Excel as name only. Then we have annual revenue, industry, and phone. So I'll just copy paste this. So these are the fields name, exact field name that is coming from Apex. And on the Excel sheet, I want annual revenue should be shown with the space, annual space revenue. ID should shown as record space ID. So we'll pass this header as this dot headers, this dot account headers. Then we need the total data. So total data is the data that we are storing here. So we can directly use this dot account data as our total header or total data. And the file name you can write any name, so it's a string, so we can say accounts records, or you can say in file name we usually avoid the space, so we'll say account underscore records as my file name, and this is my data and this is my header. So now let's go and write our utility. So in utility, first we'll check always whether the data is there or not. If there is no data, which means total data is undefined or null or something, right? Or so this condition will only check whether it's undefined, null, zero, but we need to check whether it's an empty array or not. So for that we'll say or check total data dot length. If there is no length, then immediately return out of this function as null. The null immediately will not perform rest of the operation. If data is there, then what we're gonna do is first we'll convert the data to proper string. Convert the data into string using json.stringify, and we'll store that property JSON object. I store this into a variable JSON object, and now I'll pass this JSON object with the header, and that will generate the CSV. And for that, what I'll do, I'll create method convert to CSV, and we'll pass the JSON object, that is a stringify data, and we'll say pass the headers as well to this method, and this method will return something that will be in the form of CSV. We'll write this method shortly, and whatever it returns, we'll store it into a result. So now let's start writing that convert to CSV method. So I'll write it outside. I'll say function convert to CSV. It will receive object array and headers. And here few things in CSV we have to add. First thing is column delimiter. And column delimiter is, in CSV we have comma, and the name stand of CSV is comma separated value. So comma is the my column delimiter. Then I need line delimiter. So whenever the row is complete, I want to append /r/n. /r is the carriage return, and /n is the next line. So these two things will say go to next line, and the cursor should move to the front of the first column, the next line front column, first column basically. So this is the line delimiter, and then we need to fetch all the headers key. And for that, what we're gonna do, we'll create a property actual headers key, and we'll say object dot keys, whatever the headers are coming, just extract their keys. So if I run the object dot keys on the headers, it will returns me these things, only the keys property. So it will returns all the keys, and then we'll create another property. We'll say header to show, and in this what I'll do is I'll take out all the values. So I'll say object dot values, and give me all the values of the header. So this is what I did is I'll take all the keys and all the values. Values are the headers that we have to show, and these are the keys to which we're gonna run the loop in the data. So these are the actual header key, these are the headers to show. Then we'll say let string equal to empty string, and string first equal to header to show dot join, and we are just joining our header to show in a array, and now we are converting into a string back. So this returns an array, so it will be like this. So it will gives us record ID, name, and like this all the keys come here, and we'll run the join here. So join will convert this into the a single string. If you want to see, we can do it quickly. Let's run the join on this. Let's go to our app, open the console, go to console, and I'll say dot join and join by comma, and now you see it's generate a string separated by comma. So our header gets converted properly into the CSV format. So CSV is nothing, comma separated values, and then we want to append, we want this line to end here, and the cursor should go back to the starting. So now we're gonna use the line delimiter. So we'll say once this row generated in the string, just add the line delimiter, so it will break the line, go to the starting, and then our headers are ready in the CSV format. Now we need data, and for data what we'll do, first we'll check the type of array object. So type of array object should not be equal to object. So whatever the data that we are passing, we'll check whether it's not an object, and if it's not an object, then we'll convert into the object using json.parse, and we'll say parse the object array. Otherwise, just use whatever it's coming. If it's not an object, just use as it is. So why we are checking it here? Because on the top, first we are converting into the string, and inside we are converting back into the array, back into the array of object. So let's go further. Now we have the data in the proper format, not in the string format. We'll run the loop on the data. We'll say data dot for each object, let line is initially empty string, and then we'll say take the actual header keys. Those are the actual keys that are present in the object. Run the loop on these keys. Take each key at a time and check if line is not equal to empty string, then line should append every time a column delimiter. So it means after each key gets added, just add the comma there, and then we'll say let string item equal to object of key plus empty string. So whichever key comes, we are just appending it and storing into the string item, and once we get the string item, we'll append that to the actual line, and we are checking whether the string item not containing any extra spaces, and for that we'll say replace. And what we want here is there may be a good chance the text or the value that comes, it will contain another comma like this. So what we want is we have to remove this comma, otherwise our logic will break. So we are replacing that comma now. So we'll say whatever the string got generated, just check, go to the string, first check whether string is there or not. If string item is there, just replace it all the commas globally in the throughout the string with the empty quotes. If there is no comma or if there is no string, return as it is whatever it's coming. And now once the header loop's done, we'll say in the string plus equal to line plus line delimiter. So we'll break the line there and we'll append that to the string. So the same operation will run again and again for each object, and then we have to return the whole string gets generated. We'll say return string, and now this method returns a string on the top, and here we'll say okay, now we got the result. First check whether result is there or not. If result is not there, just return as it is, or we can say return null. Otherwise we'll create a blob, const blob equal to new blob of result. So we'll create a blob of result, and then I'll create a file name here. So first I'll say exported file name equal to the file title that user is passing is there or not. If he is not passing any file title, then we'll append a static title, otherwise we'll use the title. So we are using ternary operator. We are checking file title is there or not. If yes, in that title just use .csv, means we are appending to the title.csv file, otherwise export.csv is the standard file name. So now we have the file name as well. Now we'll make this utility available for all formats. So first we'll make it available for IE. So in IE we have to check navigator.ms save blob is there or not. If it's there, then navigator.ms save blob will pass blob that we have created here, and will pass the exported file name. So it will work for IE. Then we need to check it for iPad and iPod as well, because nowadays our Salesforce work responsibly, so it may work for iPad and iPhone as well. So for that we will check navigator.userAgent match with iPhone, iPad or iPod. If yes, then what we're going to do is on the fly we'll create a link and press the download link basically. So let's create a link. We'll say link equal to window dot document dot create element, and we are creating a tag, and here we are saying to the link tag add the href attribute, and to that attribute we have to append some extra characters to make it workable or clickable. So we'll say link.href equal to data colon text slash csv, and the character set should be utf-8, and whatever the result is coming convert into the encode URI. And after that what we're going to do, we'll say link.target, it should be a blank, and whenever you click it should open always in the new tab for the iPod, and then we'll say and to the link download attribute add the file name, that is exported file name, and on the click on the link call the click method. So behind the scene how this will look like is it will create a tag, it will add the href with the data URL, and then it will create a download attribute. That attribute it will add the file name, that suppose right now our file name is this, then it will take the target and it will add the target as an attribute here, and like this it will work. So this gets generated and we'll click this link and it will call the download file and it will download the file. So behind the scene it works like this. So this works for iPad and iPod. Now all the latest browser will write another method that under the else statement will create the same link again. Here we'll say we'll check first if link dot download not equal to undefined. Then we'll create a URL using URL dot create checked URL. This is JavaScript functionality. We'll pass that blob and it will generate a URL for us. And then what we're going to do in the link, we'll say set attribute. We're setting the attribute href. We are passing URL to that href. We are setting the URL in the href attribute. Then we are passing the download attribute and we are passing the exported file name that attribute, and then we are checking link dot style dot visibility equal to hidden. So we don't want whatever the link we are generating it should be visible to anyone, that's why we are adding the style as well visibility hidden. And then we'll append this link body dot append child. So we are appending the a tag to the body tag and we are passing a link that we have generated to a body tag to append child method, and it will append it to the body tag and we'll call that link. And then what we'll do, we'll say document dot body dot remove child. Once it's clicked, just remove the link again. We don't want our DOM to hold this link, and that's it. So behind the scene how it will work, it will go to the body tag and inside the body tag it will create a tag ahref with the URL, then it will contain download that file name. It will create a style here and say visibility hidden, and like this it will create a tag and it click this a tag and immediately remove this a tag from the down body tag. That's how our CSV generation works. So now our method is ready, everything is ready. Let's deploy this and see on click will it download the CSV or not. So now it's deployed. Let's go to our app, refresh the page. On the screen right now, we are printing only the account name, but we are passing the whole data to our method, that is export CSV file. We are passing the headers. We can control the headers, which all header you want to display, but we are using all the headers. If you remove, it will only print ID, name, and annual revenue. If you remove industry and phone, so let's go and click on generate CSV and see if it generates. Yes, it's asking count record, that is the file name that we are passing, and we'll save it. And if I open this, and open this file, here you can expand this. Phone is coming, industry is coming, annual revenue is coming, and record ID is coming. If I zoom it, now you can see the header is record ID, whatever we have set it, name is coming, annual revenue with space is coming. Annual revenue for few places is undefined because those values are not available. You can handle that as well, and wherever it's an empty field, it's coming as undefined. So we can handle that either here or we can handle in the data itself. So if the data comes, we can check whether all the field has the value or not. If not, just take it, consider it as an empty string. So we can do all the things, but this is the reusable function. Now you can copy paste in your project and call this method. It will generate the CSV file easily. So that's how CSV works, and that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.